fantastic. And anyone who doesn't know what DISC is, check the recording from last week. Rob did a great job explaining that process. Jody, I'm really interested. You know, I'm a culture guy. I love culture, and I love what you're saying about your group interview, about your gameplay and those sorts of things. I'm interested. You know, I read a lot of books, and I've read both the books you mentioned, and it's a very American sort of process to, you know, the multiple interviews, the culture, the gameplay.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something that's really that popular in Australia. It's not something that, you know, most organisations are doing. It's the few rare ones like yourself. I guess two questions. How did you handle the transition personally? You know, 10 years on, it seems natural to sit in a room full of people at a group interview and play a game.
Yeah.
I imagine the first and second time when you had all these Aussie faces looking up at you thinking, how crazy is this woman? How did you get through that?
I think having a bulletproof sense of who I was and what I wanted to achieve, and your opinion doesn't really matter. I think, yeah, having a strong sense of self is definitely important in any strong leader. So if you're worried about what a potential maybe employee thinks of you, then you're not going to have the strong qualities that's needed to lead that team. So it needs to resonate with you. Not everyone has the enthusiastic personality that I've got. I get that, and I think whatever you implement into your team, it needs to be a reflection of who you are. This is a reflection of me, which is the enthusiastic Jody. So I think it's just a matter of finding within yourself what are your values, and trying to incorporate that from yourself.
And what about the people in the room? You know, when they're looking up at this crazy self-assured leader and thinking this is just the weirdest interview I've ever been to.
Yeah.
You know, some engage, some withdraw.
Yeah.
Do you sort of, in your selection mechanism, do you sort of go engage, tick, withdrawn, gone, or do you give some people some time to warm into it and to kind of get to understand what you're doing?
No, definitely, because we're looking for an SI person, we ignore the people that aren't coming out of their shell. It's some level of participation that we're looking for. And at some stage, they need to feel comfortable with it to be working on our team. But initially, absolutely, if someone's reserved and not playing full out, I wouldn't expect a high-S personality to come in and go, yeah, sure. What are you crazy person doing? For someone like me, I'd be like, woohoo, this is awesome, let's do it.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, you need to match it to your audience, but you also need to be really strong and firm with not negotiating on, you know, what it is and who you are and what you stand for. So that's that balance. And yeah, I think the sooner you start, the sooner you're going to find out, and you'll figure it out within yourself as well. Like, I've got absolute clarity on it now, but it's taken years to get that clarity. You're not going to get it overnight.
So you've you know, 10 years ago, 9 years ago, too many bottles of red wine, you came up with 6 culture points, you've driven this, you've been successful. I love the fact that you found your culture in wine. I'm heading off now to look for mine. But tell us about how it's impacted your business and particularly your clients and the relationship that your clients have with Zenergy as a result of this focus on culture.
Yeah, I've openly communicated with our clients about our culture. So when we sort of developed it, we started implementing it, and then we've gotten clear on it. Once we got through to the clarity end of the process, I felt very comfortable sharing it. This is what we stand for as a team and as a business, and this is what we hire our trainers on. So we communicated with that, communicated to them about that, and we got a really positive response because then they felt like they were part of it as well, and they would embrace it. So the word that comes to mind is community. Again, if you think about a sporting team, the stronger the culture is, the more there's just the community feel around about it. And I've got such good relationships with our clients that I definitely get, I guess, first-hand feedback in regards to, it's not Bob was late, but it was, oh, Bob just seems a bit off. And that sort of relates to our culture points of give 100%, get 100%. So they're happy to, you know, come back with their communication and letting you know when things don't feel right, and that culture is the feeling part of it, not the blatant mistakes that can just happen, which is just part of business.
And I can actually attest to that because I was a client of Jodie's for 5 years. And it would definitely had a tribe feel of it, very, very accessible feel to it, and it just felt like it was, you were looked after, basically. There was very little uncertainty, but a lot of certainty. And when you're doing something that, you know, is a little out of your comfort zone anyway, having that certainty to know that you're supported as a client was super, super important and very impressive. So,
fantastic.
Yeah, yes. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that, Jodie. We've gone through all of our questions from the audience and from ourselves. Was there anything else that you wanted to add, Shane?
No, look, I think Jodie's just confirmed that, you know, culture eats strategy. Culture is hugely important. But, and I guess maybe there is something, you know, it's the commitment to culture. You know, we all have a culture in our organisation, whether we want one or not, and whether it's the one we want or not. But it's a commitment to actually documenting it, and you know, I wrote a blog. You can find it on our blog, otrain.com.au/blog, on culture, because, you know, it's great that Jodie's got her 6 points of culture. You know, most organisations I've dealt with over the years talk about their culture or talk about having a culture, but they can't define it. There's no culture map. There's no 6 points. There's nothing to say this is the culture. You know. And they say to me in our meetings, oh, you know, we've got a great culture here. And I say, well, explain it. Well, it's great. Well, give me more. So, you know, having that commitment and documenting it like Jodie's done makes all the difference. And it does give you that point of reference to move forward from. So, Jodie, really appreciate you making the time and sharing your experience and the experiences of energy, you know, with us this afternoon.
No, pleasure. Glad to help.
Excellent. So, Jodie, if our clients do want to find you, if they're in Brisbane, to learn more about you and experience that culture for themselves, where can they go?
They should pop on over to zenergy.biz. That's energy with a Z in front, .biz. There's a direct, I think there's my direct mobile number, but the landline comes through to my mobile anyway, so just give me a buzz.
Excellent, excellent. And it's good, the timing and not pre-planned at all, that you mentioned the Rockefeller habits, because that's actually what we're discussing in our next Lunch and Learn.
Fantastic. Always excited to be talking Bern Harnish and the Rockefeller habits. Jodie, you know the daily huddle, the rhythm, you know, the one-page plan. Do you use the one-page plan?
Yes, yeah. Very simple, powerful tool.
Yeah. So really excited next week to be next Lunch and Learn to be talking Rockefeller habits.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Thanks once again, Jodie, for being such a brilliant contributor with your content. That was very much appreciated. And for Shane for hosting for OTrain.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Thanks for dropping by. And don't forget, in a fortnight, last Lunch and Learn from this location. Emma will be wearing painting smocks, helping shift furniture out of the background. Really exciting.
Excellent. We'll see you in a fortnight. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.